Christine Pitawanich with your weekly recap, where we catch you up on some of the biggest stories of the week. We'll hear from Portland police about the challenges they faced when trying to stop illegal street takeovers the previous weekend. Plus, how Portland's Central Library is trying to address safety concerns after a stabbing and other recent nearby violence. And the new warning from Oregon's leading economist on how President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill will impact the state. But we begin with a man who on Thursday pleaded not guilty to multiple charges. He's accused of stabbing two people in Northwest Portland, which led to an hours-long standoff with police. It happened near Northwest 18th and Johnson Street around 9 o'clock Wednesday morning. Investigators say after the stabbing, Victor Palmer Regan went back into his home on Northwest 18th, which then led to a nearly 5-hour standoff. The two people stabbed are expected to survive. Palmer Regan's partner told us he was suffering from a mental health crisis at the time. Here's what a neighbor had to say.
But I've had a conversation with the guy who did the stabbing, and he seemed pretty chill. He seemed like a very nice guy, and then this is just, it was shocking to me. It was very shocking.
We still do not know what led up to the stabbing. Meantime, Palmer Regan has previously faced numerous DUI and assault charges. In court, he did not challenge the state's request to keep him in custody. To downtown Portland now, where there's renewed concerns surrounding the Central Library. A man was stabbed and beaten with skateboards Monday night. This comes after a deadly shooting just across the street in July. Some small business owners nearby are reaching out to city leaders, asking for more security around the library.
I think it's really hard just because of a lot of small businesses, including myself. We are the ones who kind of have to witness it a lot. But I think it's also hard on the community because it gives this negative connotation to downtown.
The library says it has already doubled the number of security officers, added 24/7 surveillance, and increased the frequency of cleaning outside. Library officials are now also considering a weapons detection system.
From the time it started to the time it ended, it was about 40 minutes, and not one cop or officer was to be seen.
Frustration over the lack of police response as street racers took over several Portland intersections last weekend. Portland police told us they were tied up with other calls and did not have enough officers. Here's Devin Haskins with a breakdown of what happened.
On Sunday night outside the Lloyd Center Mall, a large group allegedly street racing were stopped by police.
Officers were met with very hostile behavior. The folks in the crowd started throwing projectiles, including what we believe to be mortars at officers.
Portland police arrested 4 people and towed 10 vehicles during the street takeover events on Sunday.
I think last night's behavior was behavior we haven't seen in some time.
It was the second night in a row where large-scale street racing events happened across Portland. At North Fessenden and Columbia on Saturday night.
I didn't think anything, but then it kind of kept going and got louder.
Jeremy Turner was among the more than 100 people watching as cars did burnouts or donuts in the intersection outside his apartment.
Honestly, I don't have that big of a problem with it.
He says it lasted about 40 minutes.
I never saw police. Eventually, after it had been going, after I'd been out there for at least a half hour, we heard sirens.
Portland police said they were aware of takeover events on Saturday, but thought by Saturday evening it was over.
I think we are seeing that the groups are doing a much better job of using channels of communication that we don't have access to.
Police said another serious call Saturday night and a lack of extra officers resulted in police not being able to respond to the Lloyd Center or other intersections being taken over that evening.
You know, oftentimes we've seen that we've had double the number of officers available for these street takeover missions. We didn't have that on Saturdays.
In the end, 6 people were arrested over the weekend with 16 vehicles being towed. Police called the Saturday mission during the day effective, but understand Portlanders want more.
That we hear that you want us to address this. We are we are trying to address this with the best intelligence we have. We will continue to go out and allocate resources to this.
Devin Haskins, KGW News.
Portland police said they could have asked outside jurisdictions like the sheriff's office for help, but said those requests are on a case-by-case basis because it also takes away law enforcement from other agencies. And take a look at this security video. You can see 40-year-old Joseph Nays using a slingshot to shoot someone with a dart at the 162nd Avenue Max stop in East Portland. This happened July of 2024. This week, Nays was sentenced to nearly 6 years in prison. The dart hit the man wearing the white tank top in the video in the back. He suffered a collapsed lung. Police say the two did not know each other, but the victim broke up a fight between Nays and his partner earlier that week. And check out the size of this industrial fire in Longview. You can see the black billowing smoke. It was reported just before 4 o'clock Monday afternoon, and it took crews from several agencies to put it out. The warehouse belongs to Patriot Rail's Columbia and Cowlitz Railway. We spoke to a worker who was there at the time and recorded this video.
And then within, a minute, the roof was on fire. Right away, we started directing drivers away. We were shouting like, "Go, go!" Pull away from the doors. And man, that whole place lit up like immediately.
Wow, it took firefighters a couple of hours to get things under control. There were no reports of any injuries. Investigators are still working to figure out how it started. To Salem now, where state economists project Oregon will lose nearly $900 million over the next 2 years. Alma McCarty explains the prediction and why experts say it is not cause for immediate panic.
I would not view this as kind of a clarion call that we need action right now, per se, to address this. But this is telling you we potentially have a problem, and this will have to be dealt with over the course of the biennium.
That's the message Carl Riccadonna, chief economist for the state of Oregon, brought to the Legislative Committee on Finance and Revenue Wednesday morning. His team predicting that the tax cuts included in H.R. 1, or the Big Beautiful Bill, will significantly lower the income and corporate tax revenue the state takes in.
The impact is about $888 million. For this biennium. So there is a hole in the state budget and the general fund balance that has to be adjusted based on these new developments.
This reduction in state funding, Democratic lawmakers fear, will hurt Oregonians. And they're pointing the finger at the president. Governor Tina Kotek stating more Oregon families are experiencing tougher financial situations, not by chance, but because of the economic uncertainty coming straight from the Trump administration. House Speaker Julie Fahey writing in part, today's revenue forecast confirms that Trump's economic policies are squeezing families and destabilizing our state budget. Republican lawmakers feeling differently about the tax cuts.
People will actually keep their own money. And what's crazy is the Democrats in Salem right now are saying that this is terrible.
Senate Republican leader Daniel Bonham saying Oregon's economic problems are homegrown.
The question really for Oregonians should be, was this something that literally just happened to the Oregon economy, or has this been building up from policies set forward here in Oregon?
And when it comes to the kicker, here's what state economists say Oregonians should expect.
Got a little bit smaller. Based on some disappointing tax revenues in the final months of the biennium. So there is a kicker. It's a little bit less than what it initially looked like, but the kicker will still be coming.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
And an important note to mention here, while the state will be getting nearly $900 million less, economists say that money is essentially staying in the taxpayers' pockets. So this does not mean the state economy is shrinking by $900 million. This week, a lot of buzz about Labor Secretary and former Oregon Congresswoman Lori Chavez DeRemer's comments at a cabinet meeting with President Trump and others on Tuesday. Take a listen.
Thank you for what you are doing with your agents on ICE, and thank you for the prosecution that I hope you will come to Portland, Oregon, and crack down.
We've contacted Chavez DeRemer's office several times for comment, but as of Friday have not provided anyone for an interview or offered additional details about the kind of crackdown that she's proposing. Meantime, Senator Ron Wyden posted this on X saying, quote, It's bad enough to flatter the boss as a requirement for employment, but it's even worse to sell out your fellow Oregonians along the way. Well, it was a big day for thousands of students across the region Tuesday. It was the first day of school for many districts, including the largest in Oregon, Portland Public Schools. Portland Public is starting the year dealing with some challenges, though. We're talking declining enrollment, and many students have struggled to recover since the pandemic. Tuesday morning, district officials weighed in.
My biggest hope this year is that we really tackle some of our enrollment issues head on.
I think every year is an important year. This year we really want to make sure we're focusing on attendance with our students. Post-pandemic, we saw a big drop there, and so we know that kids learn best when they're at school every day.
The superintendent highlighted some encouraging signs like Tubman Middle School's growing enrollment and improved test scores last year. It'll take a few weeks before the district has updated enrollment numbers, which will help inform decisions on what might happen next at schools. Now here's a look at your weather.
On a Friday in Portland, I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. We have ourselves a completely dry, including the coast, including inland areas, dry Labor Day weekend forecast today, tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. You know, all week we've been tracking the spinning out in the Pacific, this low pressure center, and we were wondering, could that bring us some rain Saturday and Sunday? Well, yesterday we pulled the plug on the rain chance, and then today, the imagery looks even less impressive. This really looked impressive yesterday, but not so much today. And weather models seem to be giving us data that would suggest the likelihood of us staying dry, even at the coast for the weekend, is very high in the likely category. We'll get some cloudiness from this, but maybe not even that much cloudiness. What we will get, the low gets a little closer, it reinforces a return to a weather flow that comes off the Pacific water, so that should drop our temperatures down somewhat. If there is a concern this weekend, I mean there is a concern, and that concern is really bad air quality over in Central Oregon. Holiday weekend, a lot of folks will be going over to the Bend, Sun River resort areas and other locations in Central Oregon. So from Oregon DEQ this morning, the orange and the red dots, that's Deschutes County around Sun River and Bend, on healthy air quality. Air quality is good in the valley, green dots, yellow across much of eastern Oregon, eastern Washington. This was a visible satellite snapshot taken yesterday afternoon. I apologize, the header on this banner is not correct. This was yesterday afternoon, and this is a visible smoke plume. That is what's being called the immigrant fire, and the problem is it's burning in the Cascades, so it's burning timber. So it's putting out a tremendous amount of smoke. And then the smaller dot here is our larger fire, but it's a grassland fire called the Flat Fire north of Bend, but it's putting out smoke still too. And the combo impact has really been impressive. Here's the way our smoke modeling picks up this wildfire smoke. So sometimes this can be overdone in terms of what you see, but typically where it's red, you're definitely getting very noticeable, visible wildfire haze. And in some cases, thick enough that instead of it being sunny, it's just gray and white, the sky. So, and where you see the purple, that would be really thick, smoky, overcast conditions, which we're seeing on the ODOT cameras this morning. So that is a situation we're watching in Bend. And if anything, going into the weekend, this actually blows the smoke farther to the north. And it's interesting, at the updated models, did you see that? They actually pushed some noticeable increasing wildfire haze at times back into Portland. So we are monitoring that. You know, here on the west side of the Cascades and the Willamette Valley, it's been a heck of a summer in terms of we really haven't had much overly noticeable wildfire smoke. So we'll see what happens this weekend. Our coast is cloudy, and this is Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City, and our coast did not clear out yesterday. Mount Hood beautifully clear today. Salem has been sunny right from the get-go. Portland has morning clouds, but expecting to get afternoon clearing. Our futurecast models for the weekend don't show much. Dry weather today. Here comes some cloudiness from that Pacific low being pushed inland tomorrow, and then we brighten up somewhat going into Sunday. This is tomorrow afternoon, and then here's Sunday starting to brighten up. So that's really all we're looking at. Some passing clouds on Saturday. Other than that, mainly sunny for the Rose City. Not sure if the Oregon coast sees clearing this afternoon or not. Didn't really happen yesterday. Valley with sunshine, Salem 86, so certainly a warm to toasty afternoon. Could be upper 80s again in Portland and Vancouver. I think it's increasingly likely that we do stay beneath 90 degrees today in the forecast around Portland and our capital city. But hot out in the gorge, the Dow's 94, and in Central Oregon right around 90 with that wildfire smoke. There's your weekend. 88 today, the warmest of the bunch. Tomorrow, 83. Sunday, 84. Labor Day, Monday, 86. We are tracking a return to 90-degree temperatures next week.
And that's a wrap on your weekly recap. Again, I'm Christine Pitawanich. A reminder, you can catch up on the latest headlines anytime on KGW.com, your KGW app, or our YouTube channel.